Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on my tiny channel. I am Jessie Wyman, founder of the Brand Photographer Method and Jessie Wyman Photos. I started this channel to help other photographers pivot into the world of brand photography. So I'm here to share tips, tricks, all the things from getting leads into your inbox to nailing the session to post session, all the things in between. And today I'm actually going to talk about the lenses I use mostly for my brand photography sessions. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so I have 4 lenses in my camera bag, and I really only use 3 of them for my brand photography sessions. So I've got the 35 1.4, so I shoot with the Nikon system. I'm currently using the Nikon Z6 II, the mirrorless. I just upgraded from the D750. If you have questions about that, happy to answer that, about that transition. So far, I love the camera. It's been fantastic. But back to lenses, I also shoot with the 85 1.8, and then I have on my camera currently the 50, the nifty 50 1.4, and then I also have my only Z style lens, which is native to the Z camera. The Nikon Z system is the 24-74 f4, so it's actually a really sharp lens. I really enjoy it a lot. But I really shoot primarily with the 50, the 35, and the 85. And actually the 85 and 50 are really my go-to. So I'm gonna actually show you what those look like in comparison on what I shoot and see what that is. So let's go ahead and look on the screen here. So this image here is on the 85. I actually love using the 85 for any type of where I really want to get that like nice depth of field. Obviously shooting wide open, you can achieve this with a wider lens as well, but the 85, I just love the compression that it gives, and it doesn't distort as much. Compared to this image here, which is the 50 millimeters. So it's definitely wider. When I'm shooting with my brand photography clients, if I'm going to need a wider image, obviously I'm going to use a wider lens. The 50 is wider. The 35 sometimes just is a little bit too much for me. I tend to just gravitate towards the 50 if I want to go wider, but you can automatically start to see like the amount of compression that we get between here is much different than in this image, and both are very useful and both are very helpful. So these images, you can see the metadata there. Shooting pretty wide open in both of them. So moving on to a couple different images, I'm going to show you these here. Now these are pretty much the exact same shot, just shot with a different lens. This one here is clearly the 85. I love the 85 for portrait images. Now I know many brand photographers don't like the 85 or struggle with the 85 because there's not a lot of room to back up when you're shooting with a longer lens, but anytime I'm able to back up to make that happen with the 85, I'm gonna do it. Like, I just love my 85. But then this image obviously gives a little bit more context. This is very much a portrait image. This is very much more of a what's going on in the scene. This is shot with the 50. Both are still pretty wide open, 2.8 on both of them. But you can see like the amount of like distortion. You start to see that a little bit here. Like here, you don't see the couch sort of stretched out as wide, and even the 50 doesn't have that much distortion. And then along those same lines, I have a comparison between the another 50 and 85. Again, I use these the most. I don't usually use my 35 that often. Again, roughly the same image, and what you can see is, again, the lack of distortion. Here you can start to see a little bit of distortion. It's much wider. And this one here, I love the way it's like getting some of the foreground and the compression that you're getting. There's a little bit like less space between the background and the foreground when you're dealing with the 85. I just love the 85. If I can do it, if I can back up, great. But also a few things to think about when choosing your lenses. And this has to relate back to what the purpose is of the shoot. If you need to get a lot of banner image, you might want to shoot wider. You might want to get that 35. You might want to get that 50 if you need to get a lot of horizontal banner-like images. Otherwise, you're going to struggle with the 85 to do horizontal, especially if you're in a small space. The 50 I find is like sometimes that great middle ground. And then when it goes back to the 85, great for those headshots. Anytime I'm doing headshots, I really want to shoot with my 85 to prevent some of that distortion that you're going to see, where with the wider lenses, it's going to make the nose appear bigger and all the features kind of stretch out. So it's not as flattering on the face as the 85 would be. So portraits, if you can use the 85, great. 50 is kind of the all-around lens. 35, if you really want to get that wider context, maybe for those great banner image or a little bit more photogeneralistic feel to your images. So that's what I mainly shoot with. There's some examples. If you guys are interested in learning more about brand photography, I'm going to link up my 5-step guide. It's going to get you started. And also don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. It helps grow the channel. And also if you want to be informed of new videos, especially, you want to subscribe to this channel. So thank you guys very much. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode.